as you all know, we've recruited our negotiators, and at our last Hui-a-Rohe, we had the 4 negotiators in attendance, and giving their perspectives from the team. Negotiators, excuse me, we're now at that point where the negotiators are determining or working on special factors for our settlement, and where we, what I should say, where there will be contact via the trust with our runanga, with our people, in terms of some of the issues or matters regards to the negotiations. So that those conversations will be starting very soon, and our trust, along with the iwi runanga, will be contributing to these discussions. Thank you. Yeah. Really, all I want to do here is just point out that we do have, of course, our negotiators appointed. We know who they are. To the right, though, the far right, we've got the Crown's chief negotiators. So we have had 3. We have had 3. Catherine Gordon was first appointed. She resigned in February. She was then replaced very quickly by Glenn Webber, who unfortunately resigned within a matter of, I think, a few weeks. He went and took up basically the CE position for Te Arawhiti. So he's still in the mix. And then last week, we were informed that David Tapsell was appointed as the Crown Chief Negotiator. So with that, that's the sort of lead up to where I really want us to be, and that's in the negotiation space. And at this point, I'm keen to pass the rako over to the negotiators, and who will go through. Well, I'll leave it up to them to kōrero. So with that, thank you all, and Tama, I think I'll leave it in your hands at this stage.
Kia ora. Tēnā koe Isku koutou, e noho mai rā ki o koutou kāinga, maha o te rohe o Mōkai Pāte, engari whiti atu ki Aotearoa New Te Rene whānui. Me ngā mihi tautoko hoki ki ngā mate kua rere atu ki Pāmamau. Tērā taku tuakana nā hape, me te matua rā boi, engari rā ngā mate o te whenua nei a wera mā katoa rātou e nunumi ana. Kia apiti tātou kia tātou anō, me rātou hoki e noho mā wiwi ana ki te kāinga. Te marama tātou, e te o tātou kua whai te mate korona, me era āhuatanga o te wā, kei te mihi hoki kia koutou. Pērā e tō tātou rangatira toi hau, Richard, ko te tumanako ko puta i te māwiwi ki te ora. Hoi anō, ngā mihi hoki ki te whaine, ki te whae Lavinia, rātou katoa e noho ana i te māwiwi i tēnei wā. Hoi anō, tēnei tō mātou tīma e hara i te toko toru tapu, engari te toko whā tapu pā. Matua Chai, me Matua Richard, me te whae Tracy. Mātou e kōkiri ana i ngā take kareme, ki mua i te aroaro o te karauna, ki te ata whakariterite mai i tēti whakaro, i tēti kaupapa, e whakapihi hei whakarewa hoki i tō tātou kareme kia hauhau te rongo i wainganui a tātou me te karauna. A reira, tēnā tātou katoa. Just wanted to acknowledge Mihi and our karakia today, and also those who have recently passed on, Cousin Hape, Matua Boy and others, and also Wira and others at a national level. Wanted to also briefly acknowledge those who have been suffering with a bit of illness lately, particularly one of our negotiators, actually, Matua Richard, who's been hanging out in the thriving metropolis of Mofango, and others, such as Auntie Vin's mother. I'm actually really fortunate this morning that I called the calendar. I thought for some reason that our hui was this afternoon. So instead of going for a 20k run and off to church, I decided to stay in, which was really helpful for me because I don't have to go on that run anymore. Actually, I'll just postpone it till later today. But today, myself, maybe Matua Che, depending on his voice box. And I don't know if Tracy or Matua Richard are on the call, but we're going to give a presentation that we gave to the ministers recently, to the Minister Little and Glenn Webber, the former Chief Crown Negotiator, and other members of the Te Arawhiti team, including our cousins, Pipiana and Tamaho, and the whānau whānui who had gathered at Mofango on or around the 4th of March, a couple of weeks ago. Now, I'll just do the check-in with Matua Che to see if he's able to participate at a voice level or if he's just doing the proverbial...
Anna.
Oh, kapai. I thought you might have been on the proverbial Māori. Yeah, and Tarina. Thought Matua Che's voice box is back. He was doing Māori Sign Language there for a couple of weeks. But now that he's back on, that's wonderful. Excellent. Tarina and I presented on this at Mofango Marae. Matua Che was unavailable that day. He had to stay home and isolate for a couple of weeks. But now that he's available, maybe he and Tarina and I can present together. And we'll see how that goes through. Kapai. So Tarina, get ready for the proverbial hospital pass. Kapai. Now, our kaupapa, and this is how we're theming and presenting ourselves to the Minister and to the Chief Crown Negotiator in Te Arawhiti. And our theme is Te Ara Pohokura, and named after our tupuna kaitiaki. Oh, wow.
Aramahai mai.
Oh, man. That was faster than my Hyper Olympics move in 1986 in the Hunterville Fish and Chip Shop. Thank you. Te Ara Pohokura. The pathway of Pohokura, our kaitiaki, our maunga there, and our various marae. And this is how we're presenting ourselves, that we have a pathway. That pathway is a pathway of our tupuna, Pohokura. Let's go to the next slide. Awesome. Now, I'll ask Matua Che to explain this, and maybe he's a far better singer than me. So this is our little wata.
E kia ora no tātou, e tautoko ana I ngā mihi, o te rā, e tania ana oki ki ngā mate, kia ora ui tātou. So, kia ora everybody, excuse my lisp, I've just had a operation and still working out how to talk properly, but yeah, my tongue's just had some issues since the operation. Basically, Te Ara Pohokura is about us invoking our magic and using waiata as a pathway to invoking that magic. Because if there's one thing, the Crown know a lot about different things that they've done, and they know a bit about us, but they don't know about our magic. So it's best for us to utilize our magic to take us forward and believe in it again. Believe in it again. And whether you think Pohokura is a dragon off Game of Thrones or other things, it's invoking that power and energy to guide us going forward. And so this waiata is really simple, and it leans on the fact that the ruahine, the kāweka, the kaimanoa are all part of Te Hui-a-Rohe te motu, Te Hui-a-Rohe te ka Māui tiki tiki a taranga, the backbone geographically of the fish, and it's also our home, our place. And for the untrained eye, it's a pretty desolate place, but those who understand the codes to that magic know the hinu that's in the land and can sustain ourselves. And this waiata invokes that coding, the unbreaking of that coding, so that we can sustain ourselves like we have, because technically, if you look at One Tree Hill, we're supposed to all be exterminated by now, but hell no, we're still here. And so this waiata, really short, invokes that, and we're using this waiata as a waiata to build a relationship with the Crown team, but also to share with ourselves. And it's really simple, and I'll do it quickly. Ka puta ka ora e, te iwiroa o te motu, ko mo kai pātea, hei hinu i te ao nei, ka puta ka ora e. And then we do it again, and that's when all of the parts come in, and it'll be magic. Kia ora tātou.